Social observer, advertising agencies are willfully neglecting the most profitable segment of the market, older adults. So advertising agencies are not paying attention to the most profitable generation, the old people. Okay. Older adults control more of this nation's personal disposable income than does the rest of the population combined. So the older nation have more of like just whatever they want to spend their money on, they can. Therefore, advertising agencies can maximize their clients' profits if they gear their advertisements mainly to older adults. So what is our conclusion?
Advertising agencies can maximize their clients' profits if they gear their advertisements mainly to older adults.
Excellent. And what kind of question is this?
A sufficient assumption?
Yes. So what did you predict would guarantee this conclusion? That they can maximize their clients' profits by gearing them to older adults?
I forgot.
So what is our goal of a sufficient assumption question? What do we have to do?
You got to bridge in the gap between like, so how older adults, you go from older adults and how they're going to maximize their profits by gearing advertising towards the older adults. I'm trying to find that gap in between of it, like so how you get from.
So what do we know about older adults?
That they control more of the nation's personal disposable income.
Yeah, so what could we maybe say about personal disposable income that would guarantee this conclusion?
That they'll spend their income on stuff?
Well, we have to connect the gap. So what could be true about personal disposable income that if that were true, it would also make our conclusion true? Like, what are we trying to get to? Like, what is our goal?
How to get older people to spend their money on.
We're trying to get the advertisement agencies to maximize profits, right? Our goal is to maximize profits. So what if they get to maximizing profits a different way? That would then in turn guarantee our conclusion. What could we say about personal disposable income?
Sorry, I'm still drawing a blank on how to get there.
So what if we said advertisement agencies that focus on the generation with the most personal disposable income will maximize?
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
Like if we did that, yeah. So we just want to close the gap somehow, and if that were true, then our conclusion would be true. So let's go ahead and start with A.
Okay. Older people generally have larger incomes and have had longer to accumulate resources than younger people. But that doesn't talk about how to get to profits, and that's kind of already talked about.
A is probably true, but it's not sufficient. Excellent.
No company can maximize its profits unless it markets its products primarily to a population segment that controls most of this nation's personal disposable income.
So how would you diagram this one?
Okay, I would make no company on the left, and then the unless, because now that I know that's necessary, everything else after that would be necessary.
So our necessary condition is markets its products primarily to that controls most. Okay, so markets mostly to the personal disposable income. What is our sufficient condition?
A company?
Yeah, so we have to negate our sufficient, right? So instead of no company, it's just a company maximizes profits, right?
Yeah.
If a company maximizes profits, we know that they focus on personal disposable income. Does this work?
No,
because it's flipped, right? We don't care about this. Like this is saying like, okay, if you have this means they did this, but it's like we're trying to get there, right? Awesome. All right, what about C?
Advertising that is directed toward the wealthiest people is the most effective means for a business to improve the reputation of its products. No, because we're not talking about the wealthiest people, and it just,
Excellent. So a lot of, yeah, that's not sufficient. And it's like,
yeah,
and what does improving the reputation of his products have to do with advertising?
right.
I want to talk about older adults in specifically.
Okay. No advertising agency that tailors its advertisements mainly to an audience that does not control much of this nation's personal disposable income will maximize its clients' profits. I feel like no, I feel like that's like flipped or it doesn't sound right. And
How would you diagram D into an if then statement?
oh man, if then, um, I would put the beginning. I would put will maximize its clients' profits on the right, and then the no, all of that on the left.
All right. So,
That
so on the left, so you would say if what?
if advertising agencies do not tailor, it's am I do I don't know.
So no advertising that tailors its advertisement mainly to an audience that does not control. Okay. So
I just know that doesn't look right. So I wouldn't.
no,
I know.
okay. So no, this is like we have, so whenever something says no does this, like we change it to like if not, so you negate it.
Yeah.
So this actually, since it starts with no, it's actually if. So if advertising agencies market to an audience that does not control most of the nation's, so we don't have
Yeah.
most of the nation's personal disposable income.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't advertise to that, we will not maximize its clients' profits.
Yeah.
So if we maximize our clients' profits, we will do focus on the PDI, but once again, that's wrong for the same reason as
Yeah.
before.
Okay. Yeah,
Awesome.
it just doesn't even look right. Like when I read it, it doesn't sound. Yeah.
Good. And trust your gut on that. I just want to show you more tools in case you get stuck on the test.
Any advertising agency that gears its advertisements mainly to a population segment that controls 50% or more of the nation's personal disposable income will maximize its clients' profits. Sure.
Okay, so what do we know about old people? We know that they control more of the nation's disposable income than does the rest of the combination combined.
Yeah.
So would the elderly combine more than 50% of the nation's personal disposable income?
Yep.
Yep. So we have PDI. And
Yep.
then in E, if we have PDI, what will happen?
Um, will maximize its clients' profits.
And that's exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah.
Like,
And I had answer E. I picked that one, but the 50% kind of threw me off, and I was just like, I don't know. And I didn't really like any of the answers, so I ended up picking A.
did you reread the stimulus once you didn't like any of the answers?
I probably should have. No, I didn't.
I really lean into that because I think if you would have like rather than just like you've already invested the time, you might as well take 30 more seconds and read it. Because I think that if you would have read a second time, then does the rest of the combination, you would have been like, oh yeah, for E.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is on sufficient assumption, if when in doubt, try to get to our conclusion. So well, one, generally have larger incomes. A is kind of a bad answer, but try to find one that at least like even if like the support is not right, if you're going to narrow it down to two to pick one, go with one that is like getting us to the conclusion where this is like at least getting us to maximize client profit. So
Okay.
the second best option would have been the one that's like not PDI to CMP or whatever, not the right answer, but at least we're going the right direction to give yourself a chance at it.